This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you are feeling overwhelmed by the number of things you currently have on your plate and you wish there was a better way to getting things done more efficiently, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us a method to prioritize tasks effectively and correctly place them into our weekly and daily plan and execute them like a super productive machine. I'm joined today by Wierd, a business coach with 30 years of experience in online marketing and e-commerce, whose primary focus in the past years has been to help e-commerce businesses level up their productivity, speed, and continuous improvement to reach their full potential. Hey, Wierd, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you.
Good.
I'm very good. Excited to be here.
Excellent. So in our pre-interview chat, you told me about your stellar performance process, something you were really proud of because we've been able to, use it to manage a team of 15 people, and, you successfully worked on an e-commerce brand. So I'd love to, learn more about your process and how you managed to create this high performance process. And just for you to know that we generally speak about Amazon tactics in this podcast, but occasionally I bring people in like you that have general e-commerce experience, not necessarily based on Amazon, but have this that can bring like new ideas, because I feel we live in this Amazon bubble where everybody talks about the same things, but there are lots of like great business practices that are not familiar to that Amazon. They're not shared in the Amazon space. So I'd love to hear your take, that you come from a little bit different sector, but still like very relevant. So let's jump into that. So I'd love to hear from you first, like a general overview. Like give us a general overview of the entire process that you use for prioritize and execute, and then we'll dive deep into each step.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. So for me, I was in e-commerce for several years, and I found that we were only talking, just like you just mentioned, about our campaigns, our content, how the platform works, the algorithms. And I found that we didn't talk that much about how do we actually perform like human beings, right? Like how do we work as a team or as an individual? So I started to focus more and more on that, actually with the same mindset. So the mindset from testing and trying things and learning from what we do, and implementing that on my own execution and my own process and my style. So working on that, I developed this system that basically helps you to do two things. But in the end, it's about two things. You need to know what to do now and how to do it as fast as possible. Those are the two things that it's about. Because if you don't know what to do now, you're working on everything at random. And if you're not optimizing your execution process, it's never fast. And if you know one thing in e-commerce, it's always about speed, right?
Exactly.
So this is what I try to do in this setup. So it basically builds on the idea that most people know that multitasking is a killer of productivity. So what we don't know is on how many levels multitasking happens. Because we think of multitasking, do two things at the same time, right? So we're working on an email, and at the same time we're creating a description and we're doing a meeting. Maybe that could be something happening to you later today. But multitasking works on deeper levels, like your distractions, like your phone, just checking a simple message that's coming in. Or maybe it even happens within your execution. So you're actually thinking about building the new product, and at the same time thinking about the description and while writing the description, you're actually already reviewing the description. Oh, this should be better, or this should be a bit different. So actually, within our execution, we are also multitasking. So this is what I built the system for, to make sure you stay away from distractions, stay away from multitasking, and become really, really focused on what to do now.
Okay, cool.
So it builds on the idea that you need to separate those parts: the preparation of your task, the execution of your task, and reviewing the outcome of your task. That's basically what it's built to do.
Okay, that's great. So preparation, execution, and review. Okay.
Yes, those are the three main steps you need to distinct to become really, really effective with your time, energy, and attention.
Okay, so let's dive deeper. So the first phase, it's the preparation. Like, how do we start? What do you mean by preparation? What does it look like?
So the main thing for your preparation, because a lot of people, they use to-do lists, right? So we built this endless list, and sometimes you cross something off, and it just grows and grows and grows. To-do lists are actually never done, which can be really, really frustrating. So you want to take that frustration out and become really effective with your time. So you want to put everything you want to do on what I call a future list. You could also call it a wish list. The future list is not a to-do list. Why? Because it doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. Because the first thing you need to know about productivity, the best thing you can do to be productive is decide not to do it. It's the easiest way to save time, energy, and attention, right? Just simply say, oh, this doesn't really sound like a good idea. Let's not do it. And if you just continuously pick up ideas and start going, I need this idea, I need to execute, you can often end up doing things that in hindsight were not the best idea. So what you do is everything that pops up, maybe it's an idea you have yourself, maybe you see something online, maybe a colleague mentions something, or whatever comes onto your plate, write it on your to-do list. Leave it there. Don't execute the task. Whatever you do, don't immediately execute the task. Just accept it. It's there.
Okay.
Then you move it stepwise to something you can actually do. So when you look at this list, you have an endless list of things you want to do. First of all, rate the things. Okay, now I'm looking at it again. Do I still think this is a good idea? Rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is, well, this is actually a really, really bad idea. Okay, then skip it. Move it to the waste bin. Say, no, I'm not going to do it. And stop wasting time, energy, and attention on this. That easy. But if you like the idea, okay, move it to the next step. Once you think this is a good idea, start thinking about what does it mean to get it done. So actually say, okay, I need to be able to say, is it done? So something like, I want to optimize my product description. Okay, this can never be done. There's always more optimization that you can do. So if you put a task like that on your to-do list, you will never be able to say, done, and get the reward of actually fulfilling the task. So think about, what does it mean to get it done and be able to finish it? Okay, so I want to optimize it, and that means I want to write blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is something I can do and say, did I write a new headline? Yes, I did. Okay, it's done. So,
okay, being more specific, basically. Yeah, very specific, so that it can be achieved. Yeah.
Yes. So first step, do I like the thing that's on my list? Second step, what does it mean to be done? Third step, what do I think is the impact on me, impact on the business, the value it drives? Don't try to catch it in numbers. It's impossible. it's so many factors. Give it what I call a t-shirt size. So is it something that drives medium impact? We call it medium. Is it a bit bigger? We call it large. A bit less? We call it small. Is it a really small impact? Extra small. A really big impact? Extra large. Um, this way you understand that it's not a numerical thing. You cannot say, oh, 2 times this becomes that. No, it's a rule of thumb idea impact, right? You make it up. And over time, you can become better and better at predicting what is the impact. But make it a t-shirt size so that you don't get this fallacy of an exact idea that you actually don't have.
Okay. That's
So
interesting. Yeah.
So that's the next step. And as the final step, think about the efforts involved. And I say efforts because we often think about the time involved. And we are very, very bad at estimating time. I mean, how often do you think I can do this in an hour and then spend a day?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. This happens. This happens to you, to me, to everyone. Why? Because we are very, very bad at estimating time.
Yeah.
So stop doing it. Start thinking about. This is also again a ratio thing. Thinking about, okay, I have this thing. It takes me so. I have a feeling about the amount of time, energy, and attention, because those 3 make up effort. And I give it the number 3. Okay. Next thing. Do I think this is more or less than the other thing? I think it's more. Okay. Then it's 5. If it's less, it's 2. You can use, it's called an alternate Fibonacci string, where the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, and even goes up. You don't actually need that. But it gives you the steps are all about 60% plus. So that means that you don't get in this fallacy of exact measures like, this is a 5, so that is a 6. You cannot predict that difference.
Okay.
Then it's basically the same, right? Because you don't know exactly what time it will take. You don't know exactly what energy.
So just to be clear, so instead of putting a number in terms of time, like for example, this task is going to take me an hour or 20 minutes. So you are suggesting to put like a number that comes from the Fibonacci string, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
People can look it up on Google. I don't remember all the numbers in the string, but I studied it several years ago. But yeah, so that's what you're suggesting, right?
Yeah, to step away from the fallacy that you think you can actually predict time that you're going to spend. You don't know. But since you're going to think about the entire week, it will level out. Right? Some things will be faster than you predicted. Some things will be slower than you predicted. And altogether, you become quite good at estimation.
That's interesting. So actually, there is only one, just to be clear again on this, because it's the first time I'm hearing that. Is it the one task, only one task can have one of those numbers in the Fibonacci string, right? Mm-hmm. Cannot be like multiple tasks that have the same number. So the same kind of
they can.
Okay.
Because it's not a priority. It's an estimation of effort.
Okay.
So it's a combination of time, energy, and attention. Because you can spend a lot of time if you don't spend attention or energy on it. And the same way, the other way around. If you are really, really focused, then something can go really, really fast. But at the same time, it takes away attention and energy from other things. So you need to think of those as a combined thing, I call effort, and give it a number. And the first time you're going to do this, it's going to be really, really abstract, and it's not going to make a lot of sense. But the funny thing is, if you do it over time, you become really, really good at it. Because you get a feeling about the numbers, and they're only going to mean something to you. So if you say, but I can do 20, and somebody else, I can do 10. Oh, I can do twice as much. No, because my 10 has nothing to do with your 20.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
totally different. For
That's
me,
interesting.
writing a newsletter is 2. For me.
Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. So just to recap, so basically you're prioritizing tasks that you put in the future list. So the future list, it's basically a brain dump of everything that you have in mind that you ongoing, just add on that list, everything that you have in mind, everything that you want to do. Then you start judging those things. You cut out the things that you don't want to, that you don't think they're even necessary to be done. So that's an important part. And then you start judging those ideas based on how good they are on a scale from 1 to 5. What it means to get to have those done. What is the impact measured in like with t-shirt sizes, for example, S, M, L, XL. And then what's the effort involved, and you put a number on that, based on the Fibonacci string, that it's basically an estimation of effort. So how much of your time, energy, and attention do you need to put to accomplish that task? So this is basically your method to prioritize tasks that we find in that future list, right? Okay. So that was kind of my summary to understand if I got it right. Okay, sounds very interesting. So I think I know there's so many other steps in this process, and we're kind of halfway through regarding on time, but we're only just in the beginning of this process. So let's move on with what's after we prioritize the tasks. What's the next step?
Yeah, so this immediately feeds your list of ready to go, right? So every task that has all these measurements is ready to go. And on that list, you prioritize and you use these metrics, of course. And on a weekly basis, you select items. And you say, this is what I'm going to accomplish this week. Preferably, you say, this week, I want to focus on X, right? So maybe it's your product page, or maybe it's your email flow, or maybe it's, I don't know. Pick something that has the focus. And around that focus, select your items that you want to execute. And maybe there's a bit to fillers, right? So you have 5 tasks around that one goal, and you say, I think, okay, I have some left, and you fill it. You close this as your plan of the week.
Okay. And do you do that in the beginning of the week, at the end of the week for the next one?
Both have their own benefits. It can be really, really beneficial if you end your week with the planning of the next week, because you hit the ground running on Monday morning. We tend to be really, really productive on Monday morning. So using that for planning is often not the best way of doing it. At the same time, we have this natural rhythm of the week, right? So we really like to finish off on Friday and start on Monday. So it depends on personality, which one you favor and what works for you.
Okay, cool. So then this tasks that you put in the week, do you actually put them like on each specific day, or like what's the process there? Like, do you go to daily planning, or what?
Of course, there are some tasks that might be time strict, right? Like a meeting or something else that really has to happen at Wednesday, 1 o'clock or whatever. So those you want to put in your calendar, but all the others, don't put them in your calendar, because we just said you cannot predict how much time they will take. So why would you put them in your calendar? Because then you are already saying, this is going to take me 3 hours, and this can be behind. You're taking 2 hours, and you're trying as a sort of Lego puzzle, filling your calendar with all these blocks. So preferably don't do that. They often call this calendar blocking, of course. It's very popular in productivity. I don't particularly like it in this way. I would say in the morning, look at the list that you have for this week and select the top 3 you can do today. So only select the ones you can do today and actually finish and create what is called the plan of the day. So today I'm going to accomplish A, B, and C. If you want to call that your daily to-do list, that's also fine with me. But make it so that you actually know that you're going to finish it today. That's very important. You need that sense of accomplishment every time. This is the feedback loop you're creating for yourself to create this motivation, this positive momentum every time finishing, getting the clear, I'm done for the day.
Right.
So I always say plan only for 80% of your capacity.
Okay. I like that.
This is both for this, and this is to catch for everything that's coming in between. And you can think of it as a highway. You know, a highway with 100% capacity usage. It's called a traffic jam.
Exactly.
This is how it works for your own productivity as well. You need to keep that flow. So only plan the plan of the day for 80%. It will fail. Don't worry.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. That's also the Parkinson law, right? So it will be filled with, what we put in. So should we actually cram the more things into it just to use Parkinson law, in our advantage, or did you have any tips to productivity tips that we can use, during the execution after we have done all this planning?
Yeah, so for me, there are a couple of things that are really, really important if you want to be productive. Number one, and I cannot stress this enough, is breaks. Take rhythmical breaks. And people often tell me, I take a break for lunch, and maybe I take one break in the morning, one in the afternoon. And I'm like, that's fine. That sounds awesome. It's not a rhythmical pace. Rhythmical pace, and this comes shocking to a lot of people, means you take every hour, you divide it in 45 minutes and 15 minutes. So you work for 45 minutes. You use Parkinson's law by saying, I'm going to get this done in 45 minutes. And that way you force yourself to be hyper productive within the 45 minutes. In the 15 minutes, do something completely else. Make sure the brain resets, refreshes, you get energized. I don't know if you're into breath work or you're into exercising or you just like to take a walk, but do something that really gets you out of the work sphere with your head and then get back in.
Interesting.
You feel like that's 25% of your time is breaks, and that takes away a lot of time to execute. But actually, you get so much more effective in the 45 minutes since you took the break that you are making up more than you lose. And you become a happier person as a bonus. So it's a
exactly,
win-win.
Which is not to be understated. Yeah, exactly. Okay, sounds good. So then I think the third phase, it's about review, like you mentioned, right? So what's that about? How do we do that?
So at the end of the week, it's 2 things you have to review. If you want to keep learning, progressing, and growing as a business and as a professional, you need to look at what did I do? So the work. Really look at, I created this description. What do I think about? Is it ready? Do I need to iterate on it again? Is there new thoughts that come into mind looking at what I've created this time? So really looking at the output of what you did. Second, look at the process. This part we often forget. So we look at the products we create, but we forget to look at how did we do it, and think about what did I do really, really well, what did I F up, what can I learn, and what still puzzles me. And from these 4 things, insights, create one action point that you're going to take to your next week to execute, iterate on, and become better next week.
Okay, makes sense. So basically, after this reflection and reviews, you will come up with ideas on how to improve things, right? And you will put those into the future list, right? In that kind of general bucket, right? And then you will prioritize those things as you've done with any other task, right?
Yeah, and make sure you, because in the future list, of course, you don't know if you're actually going to execute it, but pick one that you are for sure putting on your list, your plan of the week next week, because otherwise you're not sure that you're going to keep that wheel of improvement going.
Yeah, okay.
So be really, really strict with yourself. I need an outcome of this reflection, one point of action that I'm going to do next week that keeps me moving in the right direction.
Okay, makes sense. I'm curious to ask you, do you use any tools or templates, software to help you with going through this process, or just you, paper and a pen?
Yeah, well, basically, I always say to the people I help implementing this process, don't start with a tool. Start with Post-it notes. I have endless, like the old school sticky notes. Use those. Why? Because it feels really old school, right? But any tool has a learning curve. It can be steep, it can be easy, but still it has a learning curve. You want to put all that energy and attention and time into optimizing your personal system, not in learning a new tool. So first, learn your system, build your system, make sure it really works for you, and then find the tool that fits you. Maybe you keep working with Post-its. Personally, I really like the Post-its because it gives you something tangible, right? You finish a task, you take the Post-it and put it to the this is done part of the board. That makes it so fulfilling.
Nice. And we recycle that.
Yeah.
Just for the environmentally conscious people like I am. But we're saying we don't waste Post-its. Just joking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually always start with Post-its, and it depending on the situation, it can end up in a Trello flow or in. I'm currently building a Notion automation, um, but it can also be Monday or Asana, or there's so many tools out there that can help you doing this process. But if you're a solopreneur and you work in a home office, then the offline Post-it notes or whiteboards, they are your go-to places to at least start. But why not keep it there?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so I have for you our last question that is kind of iconic that I ask to most of our guests. What is your best advice to achieve more with less when it comes to execution and prioritization?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, the absolute best thing you can do to achieve more with less is accept you can't do it all, and therefore be very, very strict with what you do, and all the others, don't do it. Everything you skip is energy, time, and attention won.
Saved. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. So guys, you remember that you can actually download, as in every episode, you can download some complementary material. So this time Wierd is sharing with us this process. So you can go also to download this document that Wierd is sharing with us. You will find it in the show notes in the website, thesellerprocess.com, or in the YouTube descriptions of the video. So you'll find a link where you can download this process that we just spoke about. So you can learn more about that through this document as usual. So and then Wierd, if people are looking for help from you to systematize, to become more productive and get your help on getting things done and execution, how can you help them and where can they find you? Share your contacts.
Yeah, so the easiest way to find me is through LinkedIn. Also to keep your knowledge growing on this subject, follow me on LinkedIn. I post there every day on small parts of this framework and the mindset surrounding the framework. So be sure to follow me there. And via LinkedIn, you can also, of course, reach out to me. And I'm happy to help. Always look at your personal situation and can we create a plan? And of course, if there's a fit, I can always help you out and implement it and be accountable for implementing it.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, thank you very much again for sharing your tips, Wierd, with us. I'm sure it will be very, very, very useful for all the listeners. Guys, remember the key to success is to emulate the best. So take home the tips that Wierd just shared with us, take action, implement them in your business and in your life so that you can become more productive. And remember to download the complementary material and apply it to your business. And I will see you. I hope you will have a productive week, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey, entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.